Well, good morning. Day after Christmas. I hope everybody had a good holiday, good Christmas time with family. If you had to work, you'll make it up. I guess you'll get a little bit of holiday pay that goes into that. I don't know. Some places do. Never really looked much in that. It's always talked about, and as far as making time and a half and such. But personally, I don't think I'm up to that per dollar an hour what I'm making to see a big difference in it to make a difference. But our family's different. We always do our Christmas not on Christmas Day. So many of us with different schedules. So we're doing ours in a couple of days. So I worked Christmas Eve. Wasn't bad at all. Did the old 7 to 7. I tell you, just been getting our asses handed to us in the ER. And just a lot of holds. Some days we walk in, one room available. Then we start breaking out the hallway beds. Just been real tough there. And but what are you gonna do? You go in, you do your job, you do it well. You get with the friends who you're with, your co-workers. You bond with them. And so, anyway, I know it's been a while. Is what it is, I guess. So, here, I'm getting ready for go to work. Got to work the 11:11. So, hopefully I'll get off a little earlier because got to do some ambulance time tomorrow, too. Got to make that paycheck. So, what to talk about? I'm going to bring up something here. Some of y'all people may experienced this already. Maybe some of you that you haven't. You're going to be in the healthcare job in one form or fashion, but if you're going to be working in the ER, the bottom line is you're seeing people on their worst days. Either they'll drive themselves to the ER or a family member, or they're going to be brought in by an ambulance. But it's a lot of it, it's cookie cutter medicine. I hate to say that word, but I'm going to call it what it is. Sniffles, stubbed toes, things like that. Then you're going to get some that are truly hurting, truly that needs a medical attention now. So Christmas Eve, came in, started around 7, straightening up my area there, and walked around to the nurse's station, and I see them scurry into our trauma room, and that usually means one thing: there is something coming in. I asked, and they're saying that we have a cardiac arrest coming in, and so I said, "You need my help?" They like, "Yeah, sure." So we get set up, and I'm like, I'm gonna go wait outside. Just wait for the ambulance. It's a very short walk from where you back in the ambulance and take the stretcher to the trauma room. Very short walk. But I know as being a paramedic, it's always nice to have someone meeting you out there. So they rolled in, doors open. A friend of mine's in the back, and so not a very heavy person. I said, "You get what you need to get done in there. I'll pull them out, and then we'll bring them in." So we did that. Picture perfect. Rolled them in. Got them on the bed. Had a great team. I mean, great team. I helped out doing compressions. We rotated through that. And let me tell you something. If you don't think that's not physically hard, it is. That's why it's good. Keep your cardio up, because that might be you on, you on the table one day, because you didn't keep your health in check. But anyway, back to the story. So it went good. Got him back. And then we lost him. Then we got him back again. And but the downtime is way long. And so family said, just stop. We know that you did everything, and there's more to the story to be said there, but it is what it was, and we did our best. We had a good team. The physician on board did a fabulous job. If I see her today, I'm going to tell her. I mean, just did really good on that call right there. And even with the nurses, and we all did well, and even I contributed, as far as I wasn't, starting IVs and such. I don't like to get in the way. Everybody's doing something, but supervisor's there from the EMS service. So I asked, I said, can you give me what time the call was called in for this? And big difference, because then you're looking at a time frame. He told me what it was, and we were like way over an hour helping this patient. And so it makes a lot of good decision makings when true downtime when someone's down. But we fought what we could real hard, but patient, didn't make it. So real bad for our family on Christmas Eve to see that there. So we went about our business and going through the days and doing well. And then we had, I'm not going to get all into the nit-grit particulars on this. I was not, let me say this, I was not in the room for this next one that came in mid-ish, late-ish afternoon. But we had a traumatic, pediatric call come in. It did not fare well. And with that being said, I just knew, I'm not going to get into the particulars on here. I'm not. Maybe one day I will, once I get all the details and, no names and such. But what to bring home from this is myself not tooting my horn. I've been doing this for quite a while. I've dealt with pediatrics in the field. I'm gonna be honest with you. None of them fared out well. Is what it is. Too long of a downtime. One, severe birth defects. It was nothing that I could have done in the back of the ambulance until we got to the hospital, and nothing could have been done there. So I got some street cred, and so with that being said, I'm looking in the room and looking around, and it's packed, and they're waiting, and I'm all like, man. And I knew the nature of the call that was coming in, and I'm like, this is not going to be good on our staff. A lot of mothers in there, and fathers too. And kind of in a nutshell, the call didn't turn out well. So there was a lot of emotions. Everyone did their job. I wasn't in the room, but after the matter of the fact, there was a lot of moving parts to this call here. And so what do you do? What do you do as a coworker when you see your other coworkers, helping in a hot call? What do you do to help? So I started kind of formulating a plan already. The charge nurse, before they came in, I asked, do you need me to be in there for any help? And they were like, no. We formed a small plan out. We did that. Very blessed that the front was not busy at all. Nobody was coming in. So that was a big help there. And so, but what do you do when it's all said, done, and over with? So it was me. There was another medic. Very thankful, the nurse up front saying, hey, I got this. I can usually I'll have a nurse and a tech up front, and people come in, the nurse checks them in, the tech gets the vital signs, and if we have rooms, we walk them back. Just things like that to keep things moving. He's like, I got this. He goes, you go help in the back. So me and the other medic, we kind of formed a small plan. I said, you cover this area. I want to hit the side rooms. I'll do what I can. I do have limited what I can do. I can't give all the medications, but what I can give, I could. And I was in communication with the other nurses that were on the side there, and excuse me, excuse me about that. So I did. We were just basically, when things like that happens, you could be there for support. And not saying this is not the first time that these nurses were in the rooms have seen things like this. These were seasoned, very mature nurses, but still it gets to you, especially when it comes to children, or even with somebody older. You never know what triggers somebody. So, the big thing to do is support. If you can help out with their patients, you do that. If it's if they get back to work and the room's empty, that they discharge, help clean it. There's not a lot of times you get downtime or decompression time like this, especially, and I'm speaking from experience with EMS. A lot of times it's like this. You clean up from a bad call, and guess what? There's another call waiting for you, or there will be another call that you have to go to. And it's no difference than being in the ER, that there will be more patients coming in that day. Excuse me, get a little cup of coffee here. So the biggest thing that I could really advise is just support. I'm not a big talker to someone. I'm not someone to say, hey, are you okay? Or give hugs. I mean, I can, but I will say I'm a fairly good student in reading people when they want to be just left alone, or sometimes silence is key. Sometimes in the break room, really talk. It's just quiet. And if, especially after a bad call, sometimes you just kind of leave it as if they start talking. Sometimes your silence is better, and they just need somebody for them to listen to. So the big thing is you're going to run across calls like this, and they're going to be hard. And it was hard on me. I'll be honest with you, 3 grandchildren, and age was kind of close to what was going on that afternoon, and it's tough. It's really tough right there. And so, but if you're not going to be part of it, you need to maybe start thinking about, as far as what can I do to help here. If you're working in a place here that, how can I put this? If you're working somewhere to where you may not have, I guess, emotional support, like I'm saying, I'm still learning the ins and outs as far as the ER, the hospital, the White Palace. As I call, the hospital is the big White Palace is where I work. I don't know. Do they have teams? Do they have, yes, I'm sure there are numbers to call to get, help, counseling if you need it, that nature there. But what do you do, like, right after this call? And so, how do you go about it? What does management have for you? What do you do? Do you shut rooms down? Do you lean on each other? Or does somebody come in? And I know a lot of times in EMS, and I'm just being completely frank right now, straight up, they don't got shit. There are numbers to call and such, but as far as your service, and especially if you come from a small service, I'm going to tell you right now, you're screwed, because you got to answer that next call. You got to do the work. You may have a little bit of downtime in between calls, but if you have a horrific call, and you think I can handle this, and you got to go on and do the next one or the next one. Maybe you pull on a 24-hour shift and you've been up all night. Then emotions are running even stronger. Decision making may not be the best. But I'm just speaking from experience. I've always had management say, well, we're here for you if you need help and such. But you know what? If some bad calls come in, I don't hear shit from them. I don't hear a text saying from my upper management, hey, how things were going. When I had these bad calls, who I got them from? The older medics. And I was getting text messages from the ones that weren't even on shift. But, they have radios, they run rescue calls, and so we were all on the same radio frequency, so they knew what was going on. And I had, this is some years ago, I had people reach out to me who wasn't even on shift, asking how I was doing. So it kind of hits close to home on as far as dealing with calls like this, and especially with children and seeing things. Because once you see something, it cannot be unseen. It can be dealt with, but it cannot be unseen. And sooner or later, I'm going to be completely honest with you, you're going to have to deal with traumatic things that happens to you in the medical field. It may not be now, but something's going to trigger it, and it's going to come out, and your emotions are going to come rolling and flooding out, that you're going to have to deal with it. So it's going to happen. So with that, find out who you can talk to. Find out how you cope with things like this. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you had a bad call, and I'm just saying, maybe you're doing back-to-back shifts. You're working your 12, going home, coming back, working another day. If you're really having a problem, I'm going to be honest with you. And this is just me. I wouldn't hesitate on this being honest. Never lie. If you're going to call out, don't lie. If you're going to call out and say, look, you know what? I am emotionally not ready to come back. If you had if you were dealing with a hard call, I would rather work understaffed and work even harder than to put a person saying you got to come in because we're going to be shorthanded if you don't come in, if they're really asking for help. Sometimes us health workers, we just need a day. We need a couple of days to just do what we need to do, get away from work. I don't know, piddle in the yard, cook in the kitchen, whatever makes you happy, or whatever floats your boat. But my advice would be, you know what? It is what it is. And if you have good coworkers, they will understand, because we've all been through this before, and we've all dealt with hard calls, and it is what it is. We've chosen the field to help the sick, to help the downtrodden, to help the ones who can't help themselves. So, with all that being said, holidays are over. Some people are still doing them. But anyway, that's what I got for you here. So, learn how to deal with your emotions. Find out who you can talk to. And some of y'all who listen to this know who I am. Reach out. We can sit and chat, even if I don't know you. I've been getting some downloads in other states. I don't know why people in Missouri or Kentucky want to listen to me. But I'm thankful for that. So if you want to, hit the like button, subscribe. If you want to, don't. This is something that I just kind of do on my own. But remember, we're all out here together, and we're all trying to do what's right, and people in time of need. So with that being said, thank you again, and thank you for listening to me just ramble this morning.